EBT. I've been standing here 10 minutes.
Ma'am, it's okay. Let me just scan your card for you.
I need it now.
Hold on, we can fix. Whoa.
Oh,
Watch out.
Shoot.
You okay?
Let me help you up.
Here, grab my arm.
I just need my EBT. That's all I need.
We'll get it. Don't worry.
Welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this right now, you probably feel just like me. Just another number. My number happens to be 17. And today we're going to be talking about, of course, SNAP benefits. So with the idea of SNAP, EBT, or food stamps in the news, I had to ask the personal question. Like, the first question that comes to my mind is, why are people on SNAP benefits? Why are people on food stamps? And to do this, I did something for the first time. I asked Grok, that is Twitter or X's AI. I tried it out for the first time and I asked it that question, and these are the results that I got from it. People in the United States receive food stamps through the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, which is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA. Eligibility is based on income, household size, assets, and other factors, but participation reflects a mix of economic, social, and personal circumstances. Below are the primary evidence-based reasons why individuals and families enroll in SNAP, drawing from USDA data, Census Bureau statistics, and peer-reviewed studies, e.g. from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities and the Urban Institute. Now, obviously, this is based on common sense. Artificial intelligence can indicate exactly why these factors are, and I'm going to go into it in a second. But we have to put a human face on this because too often we wrap this in the political lens. It get too wrapped up in the political sense of who's paying for it, who's doing this, who's doing that. And we often lose touch with reality. We often lose touch with the fact that we are humans, and sometimes people fall on hard times. Sometimes people are in need. And Grok went on to explain that. Low income relative to poverty thresholds. Core eligibility rule. Households must have gross monthly income less than 130% of federal poverty line, FPL, and net income less than 100% FPL after deductions. 2025 FPL for a family of four, $32,000, 150. That's 130% at $41,795. Reality. About 60% of SNAP households have gross incomes below 100% FPL. Medium SNAP household income is $22,000 a year, USDA for year 2023. Why it happens? Low wage jobs, e.g. retail, food service, childcare, pay medium $12 to $15 an hour, insufficient for rent, utilities, and food in most metro areas. Wage stagnation for bottom quintile. Real medium wages for lowest 10% grew only 4% from 2000 to 2023, Economic Policy Institute. Yes. Now we're going to get to the real meat and potatoes of the show. And at a certain point, we're going to talk about the politics of it also. Stay tuned for that. But people who are against food stamps, who are against SNAP, or against the people that are on it, never stop to realize that a lot of times people are on it because most of the times these jobs don't pay enough for people to survive. And the easiest reaction would be to go say, well, go get a better job. Well, it's a catch-22 because at some point, these services are still needed, which means people are still going to need to do these jobs. So you're telling me there are jobs that should not pay a living wage. And if that's the America you believe in, then in my humble opinion, your perception is warped. But you don't have to just take my word for it. I got a clip I'm going to play that will pretty much say it for me.
Okay, so I just learned that the Walton family, who owns Walmart, and Jeff Bezos are both worth over $400 billion, right? But many of their employees are on SNAP benefits. So maybe it's time to address the real problem, which is an unwillingness to pay people a living wage.
So basically the same message, right? That's what gets lost in translation when we start talking about subjects like these. The humanity gets lost. People need to make a fair, livable wage. Employment challenges. Working poor. 32% of SNAP households have earned income. 62% of non-elderly, non-disabled adults on SNAP work while receiving benefits, USDA 2022. Underemployment. Part-time, seasonal, or gig work, e.g. Uber, DoorDash, often lack steady hours or benefits. Job loss. 20 to 25% of new SNAP entrants cite recent unemployment. Urban Institute 2021. So here we are. We're talking about underemployment or unemployment. And if you've been reading the news lately or have been paying any type of attention, you know that Amazon laid off a bunch of people. Prior to that, it was UPS. We've had significant job losses in the year 2025 by itself. So from that standpoint, all these people who are losing their jobs, losing their benefits that come with the jobs, they're still going to need to eat. They're going to file for unemployment. They're going to file for food stamps. They have no means to provide for themselves. And a lot of people are trying, but the job market sucks. So this woman explains it perfectly for me.
America just lost nearly 1 million jobs in 2025. Hey, CEOs still got their bonuses. Why does it feel like every other week somebody's job is getting tossed out like leftovers? By the end of September 2025, America already had nearly lost 1 million jobs. In October, over 170,000 layoffs announced across multiple sectors like tech, retail, hell, even government. Amazon just chopped 14,000 jobs. Carter's, you know those baby clothes people? They just cut 15% of their workforce. Meta just trimmed hundreds of people from its AI division. Oh, and UPS, they slashed 48,000 jobs. And 14,000 of them were in management. That's not just delivery drivers. That's people with whole salaries and health insurance just gone overnight. Now, I know you wonder, why is this happening? I'm going to tell you why. Companies want to be able to report record profits at the end of 2025. The easiest way to do that is not by creating new products or even being innovative. Y'all need to stop thinking like that. It's cutting your job so that the stock looks sexy to investors. That's capitalism, baby. Rich people will let you struggle with your rent before they will ever admit to shareholders that their profits are slipping. I want to know, how many of you are caught up in this mess right now? Because I know I am. How many of you or your family members or friends got hit by these cuts? And, this happens while rich executives keep making money hand over fist. Because if you're tired of watching corporations get fatter while families get squeezed thinner, share this video. Drop your story in the comments. Let's talk about what's really happening in America right now. Because I know I'm tired of winning.
That's it in a nutshell. These corporations only care about corporate profit. They'll cut your jobs. They don't care how you have to manage, how you have to get by. That's the American way. Individualism. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? The country itself doesn't care about you. I've said this on numerous videos. I've said this time and time again, and I'm not going to stop saying it. Get over this illusion of what you think the country is. The country does not take care of its citizens. It expects the citizens to take care of it. It's that simple. People fall on hard times. People need help. People here were doing the right things. They were getting up. They were going to work. They were maintaining their jobs. And what happened? They got the rug pulled from under them because of corporate-based decisions, because they don't want to report record losses, only record profits. They don't want to report, not record losses. They don't want to report any losses, right? Because they think the ticker is just supposed to keep going up, 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 up. They think it's supposed to be infinite growth. That's not realistic. That's not realistic in this reality. And tying it back to food stamps, that attitude just goes right back to what we see today. People are going to go hungry. because of the whole food stamp debacle. But I'm gonna get back to what Grok was talking about. High cost of living, housing burden. 70% of SNAP households pay over 50% of income on rent/mortgage. Mortgage. CBPP 2023. USDA's Thrifty Food Plan assumes only 30% of income for housing. Regional variation. In high cost states, California, New York, Hawaii, even full-time minimum wage workers qualify. Example, a single parent earning $15 an hour in Los Angeles with 2 kids is SNAP eligible. So one can argue that SNAP is in need of reform to some degree. If they're only assuming that you're paying 30% of your income for housing, rent, or mortgage, they're assuming that you have all this extra when it really needs to be updated because of the simple fact of inflation and just pure, straight out greed. Okay? That's what you see here. It's just greed. Family structure and childcare costs. Single parent households. 36% of SNAP recipients are in families with children headed by a single adult, usually mother. Childcare averages $10,000 to $15,000 a year per child. Large families, average SNAP households size is 2.2 people, but larger families, 4+ face economies of scale limits in the benefit formula. Okay, so there you have it. You get the argument on one end where the people who disagree with SNAP say these people are lazy and that they should get up and work. But here they are. They are getting up. They are going to work. And if it's single parents, they have to pay for childcare. So childcare ain't free. It ain't cheap. It's eating into their income. Again, let's go back. They're already not making enough money, which is what qualified them for SNAP in the first place. So on top of that, having to pay for childcare, it's another added expense because they have to go to work, right? So you can't have it both ways. You can't, the logical gymnastics that people are trying to play with this issue is just insane. Disability or health issues. Disabled adults. 22% of SNAP adults reported disability. Many receive SSI, $943 a month max in 2025, which is below poverty line. Medical expenses. Deductible for households with elderly/disabled members if out-of-pocket costs exceed $35 a month. Again, so we're talking about the elderly and the disabled. Now, I'm pretty sure not too many people would probably complain about the elderly and disabled being on food stamps, but this is just an explanation on, okay, these are reasons why people would be on food stamps. So again, we're talking about the elderly on fixed incomes, senior 60+, 20% of SNAP caseload, average Social Security benefit equals out to $1,920 a month in 2025, but many have no savings and face rising Medicare premiums. Temporary crises, economic shocks, recessions, 2008, 2020, spike enrollment. SNAP caseload rose 70% from 2007 to 2011, fell with recovery, then rose again post-COVID. Natural disasters, domestic violence, eviction. States can waive rules temporarily. Systemic and historical factors. Racial / ethnic disparities. Black, 26%, and Hispanic, 18%. Households are overrepresented relative to population share due to wealth gaps, discrimination in labor / housing markets, Federal Reserve data. Rural versus urban. Rural counties have higher SNAP rates, 18% versus 12% urban, due to fewer jobs, higher poverty, USDA, ERS, 2023. So there you go. It's stating that people in the rural communities, the real Americans, they get a higher percentage of the SNAP benefits than the urban folks. the people who live in cities. When you say urban, it's just code for black. But yet they parade black folk around, and probably brown folk too, as the poster children to these EBT, welfare, SNAP benefits. So we need to really look at this issue humanely. It just laid out different scenarios and why people may need those benefits. But my primary one, the one I harp on the most, is that the fact these jobs are not paying people enough money, but yet they rake in billions of dollars in profit because they're not paying their workers livable wages. That's the game. And so to close this out, this section of the video, people use SNAP primarily because their incomes, whether from low-wage jobs, disability benefits, or retirement, do not cover basic needs after housing and medical costs. The program acts as a wage supplement and economic stabilizer with strict income tests, ensuring it targets those below or near poverty. Enrollment fluctuates with labor markets, housing costs, and policy changes, e.g. pandemic expansions ended in 2023, dropping caseload by 2 million. All right, so now I want to do a quick breakdown of some of the stupid myths about food stamps. Like, you hear this stuff all the time on the internet, so again, this was still a part of what Grok was talking about. Common misconceptions versus data. Myth, reality, USDA/CBPP 2023. Myth, most are unemployed and don't work. Reality, 57% of adults in SNAP households work. 78% work in prior or following year. Myth, people stay on forever. Reality, median spell equals 10 months. 70% exit within 2 years. Myth, immigrants abuse the system. Reality, 8% of SNAP households have a non-citizen adult. Most benefits go to U.S. born children.
They will feed you the same lie that people on SNAP just don't want to work because they would rather you be focused on hating your neighbor for needing groceries than to focus on the people that are actually harming everyday Americans. SNAP helps over 42 million Americans eat every month. And the thing is that most of the people on SNAP are working. They are cashiers, they are home health aides, they are servers, they are people trying to survive very low pay and unstable hours. And census data will show you that 86% of working age adults on SNAP had earnings that year. And when you look at families with kids, nearly 9 out of 10 households had someone working. So no, these people aren't lazy. They are underpaid people. And the wildest part is that SNAP costs the average taxpayer around $6 a month. $6. Meanwhile, corporate tax breaks and loopholes cost hundreds of billions every year. The corporate income tax makes up only about 9% of federal revenue, while regular people, you and me, pay nearly half through income tax. So think about that. We spend a few bucks here and there helping families eat, but we let billion-dollar corporations pay little to nothing in taxes and then convince you to hate your neighbor for needing groceries. SNAP is not the problem. Working people struggling to afford food aren't the problem. The problem is the system that protects corporations more than people. Be mad, but be mad at the right people. And even if I can't get help from people to try to make sure that we can get people that don't have food for the holiday season, one way or another, I'm going to make sure that some families within my control, within my abilities, are going to have food to eat in the coming months. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm damn sure going to figure it out because I care more about my neighbor and making sure my neighbor has food than I do about these worthless people in power.
I don't know about you all, but I'm ready for us to get to the Kool-Aid drinking portion of whatever hellscape cult that we are currently witnessing right now. I need these people to go ahead and expire like old whole milk. Every day we are inundated with foolishness, right? From them parroting whatever that man in the White House with long-term syphilis presenting as dementia is saying. Meanwhile, they are reading on a 5th and 6th grade level. You have no understanding about what is going on, but somebody gave you a mic and you have something to say. So much so, I had to go out and get me a flip phone so that I can slam it shut and channel my anger in a healthier way before I end up in the clink being passed around for cigarettes for going off on one of you all. Every time I open my phone, on a platform, on a podcast, on the news, somebody's saying something foolish. Well, Barack Obama built a basketball court. How is that the same as tearing down a whole wing of the White House, opening back up? Well, you know, the illegal aliens, I didn't know we were hosting people from Mars, Neptune, maybe Uranus, but illegal aliens, I don't think so. Open my phone. Well, the Democrats got the government shut down. Oh, really? When the Republicans control the House, the Senate, the White House, and the Supreme Court. Make it make sense, right? You all want 20 million people to lose their health care or can't afford it because that's the number one reason people go into debt is medical. Did you know that? No, you didn't, Kevin, because you out here spending foolishness. Open my phone again. Well, if people would just play nice and all high roads are now closed. We already made that announcement. That man stood up there and said, smart people hate me. Essentially calling you all foolish because you're dumb. But you can't catch that. He already said he's not getting into heaven. Right? He already knows what he is doing. But every day I open my phone, you all have something foolish and say, well, it's his money. Is it his money or private donors? Make it make sense because you're lying back and forth and you don't know. Right? Well, let me see this one right here. Well, slavery was so long ago. Really? Well, explain prisons to me right now. Quickly. Exactly. Shut up.
As promised earlier, now we're going to get to the politics of it all. Literally. This is the political portion of what's going on with the food stamps part. See, I tried to give the breakdown. I tried to talk about just the brass tacks, just the facts, just the stats. Now we're going to move on to the politics portion. And yes, I'm biased because, I lean to the left, because I actually care about helping people and I'm not a selfish person.
They've done something insidious, the federal government, in addition to Donald Trump being willing to turn off SNAP benefits on November 1, when they do have emergency funds available at the Department of Agriculture, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and they're choosing not to use it. But they've done something even more insidious. They've decided to shut down the SNAP machines so that they can't be used. So even if we were to put money into SNAP accounts, they couldn't be accessed by someone who has a SNAP card.
Now, if indeed that is true, that is definitely indeed insidious because it shows that this is premeditated. It shows that, hey, yeah, we're going to cut your benefits or we're just not going to renew them because technically it's funded. It's already been funded. They just don't want to release the money, which, you'll hear about or if you've already been hearing about. So if that part is true, where they've programmed the machines to not even accept the benefits, even if those benefits were reinstated, that is indeed a case. That is a case that can be made that your government does not give a shit about you.
First, they threw 15 million people off the health care they have. Second, they are doubling premiums for 20 million people on the Affordable Care Act at a time when we already pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. But now they have gone to a new low. They are refusing to spend money that Congress appropriated for the SNAP program to feed hungry Americans in the event of a shutdown. The money is there, appropriated. They refuse to spend it. They are trying to make a political point by allowing children in America to go hungry. That is disgusting. Let's organize, let's fight back. Let us not allow them to get away with this.
And there you have it. This is precisely why the Democrats are fighting during this shutdown. Now, people are trying to make this about all the politics, but it's like really they're trying to prevent on their end from what they're claiming. They're trying to stop health insurance premiums from going up. I mean, come on now. We already know health insurance is a scam. It's a racket. We're already being scammed. But We also, at the same time, you know, people need to go to the doctor. And because it's monetary based, because they think everything in this country has to be ran for profit. That's the problem. This is where you throw humanity out. This is where morals go out of the window. To be able to achieve such success, morality has to go by the wayside, which is why they're able to get away with making profit and people getting sick, making profit in the healthcare industry. Right. So the Democrats are fighting because in this big stupid bill that they passed, they make a bunch of cuts to pay for rich people's taxes, for tax cuts that they don't deserve, that they don't need, or again, deserve. And so Republicans playing a game of chicken. Oh, we'll let your benefits run out because they don't care. They've never cared. As a matter of fact, they've never really been in full support of these programs. You'll see towards the end of the video. Here's a tweet. Mike Johnson admits that Trump is refusing to pay SNAP benefits that feed 42 million people because it would reduce the pressure on Democrats to help reopen the government.
The reality is that this has been a stalemate for 30 days. And it's not just Democrats. You also have one of the most conservative Republican senators, Josh Hawley, who says, at least please move money around to feed people. Why not consider that?
Because if you deviate from the goal of reopening the entire government, Chuck Schumer and the radicals over there will continue to play games with people's paychecks, their livelihoods. And if you do just part of this, it will reduce the pressure for them to do all of it, to do their basic job, and that is reopen the government. This is very real and very serious, and they can end it today. They can do it right now. All they have to do is, we just need 5 more Democrats in the Senate to help us reach the 60-vote threshold. We don't have enough Republicans to do the right thing on our own. We need them to do the right thing.
Does it give?
Now, let me help out MAGA Mike for a second. You say that the Dems could end it all right now, but last time I checked, the Dems are not in control, right? They don't control the House. They don't control the Senate. They don't control the White House. Hell, we don't even have enough members on the Supreme Court. So you clearly dominate all 3 branches of government, but yet somehow it's still the Democrats' fault. Oh, I know, because of the archaic rule in the Senate where you need a 60-vote majority. Yeah, but see, you could quash that right now. You could just kill the filibuster. You could quash all that right now and have a simple majority, have it passed by simple majority rules. But you won't do that because you know the consequences of doing that. Because you know if you ever lost power, you know how that would flip. So then you turn around and you still blame this on the Dems, which I don't understand how you could possibly do that. Because again, it goes back to what I said. It's within your wheelhouse. It's within your power structure to be able to change the rules, to be able to pass this. See, this is what you call the radical right. He tried to blame it on the radical left. This is the radical right. You're playing chicken. You're playing games with people's food. Because again, it goes back to my theory. My theory is they're doing all of this on purpose because they want to give the orange maniac a reason for martial law. This is what they're doing. This is what they're trying to attempt. I mean, I'm begging for someone to convince me otherwise, but the evidence is clear as day to anybody with eyes and common sense. So, Mr. Magic or Magic MAGA Mike, you know you're lying. You know you're lying through your teeth. It's you guys that are playing this role. You're playing this game. And quite honestly, it's just a shameful tactic. It goes to show really clearly you don't give a shit about the American people. It's all politics to y'all. It's all games to y'all. Because y'all not the ones being affected by it. Y'all are all multimillionaires. This ain't affecting y'all. You know, it just... I almost run out of words sometimes to describe these people. They're evil. They're evil. There ain't no other way to describe it. Here's another tweet. Democrats are trying to save people's health insurance. Republicans are trying to raise your cost of health insurance to fund billionaire tax cuts. Health insurance premiums are projected to rise by a median of 18% in 2026 due to increased healthcare costs, inflation, and the potential of expiration of Enhancement Affordable Care Act subsidies. This would cause the amount most enrollees pay out of pocket to increase significantly, with KFF estimating it could be more than double for subsidized members if the enhanced credits expire. The specific vote on extending the subsidies is a political issue that has not yet been resolved. How much will premiums increase? Median proposed increase. A median increase of 18% is proposed by insurers for ACA marketplace plans. Insurer premium increase. The average increase in the amount of insurers are charging for coverage on the ACA marketplaces is estimated at 26%. What enrollees pay. What enrollees actually pay depends on their income and subsidies. If enhanced subsidies expire, the average amount enrollees pay is projected to more than double, a roughly 114% increase. So there you have it. That's what the Democrats are fighting for. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they're trying to stop. They're trying to stop an increase on your health insurance premiums. And again, Republicans want to hold food stamps hostage because they want those increases. They want you to pay for those increases to help fund the billionaires' tax breaks. Again, it shows you where America's true priorities are, because it's not to its people. And I'm not coming off as anti-American. I was born here, okay? But given the fact and the right that I have freedom of speech, I'm allowed to critique the government, right? I was born here. What they're doing is wrong. What you're doing is inhumane. We're not animals. We're human beings with dignity. We are the backbone of this country. We are the labor force of this country. And there are more of us than there are of you rich people, the rich billionaires, the elite, the so-called elite. I don't know what makes you really elite outside of the fact that you have ungodly amounts of money. But this is what they're doing. And then you got Republicans like, what's his name, Byron Donalds or whatever. They're still spreading these lies, still talking about, oh, they want to give insurance to illegal immigrants. I'll play it for you.
They could, I'm quite sure right now today, they could probably find a way to pay for that stuff right now. Just get that stuff out the way, but they don't want to do it because what they're trying to do is hold everybody up so they can get health care for illegals. This is not about SNAP. It's not about WIC. It's not about military personnel. This is about Democrats wanting to fund health care for illegal aliens in these sanctuary states. And we're not doing it. There was an election. We won. We're not doing it.
So the thing about elections, Byron, since y'all so-called won, is you have to take responsibility and accountability for the actions and inactions of your government. See, let me let out the little secret about Republicans. They know how to campaign and they know how to lie really well, but they don't know how to govern worth a damn. They don't know how to actually solve problems. They don't know how to actually fix anything for the average American person. No, they don't, because they don't support programs that actually benefit people. They support things that benefit the rich, the wealthy, the so-called elite, the people who fund their campaigns, but they don't do anything to benefit you. Or if they do just a little bit, they make it temporary. They do tax cuts across the board, but they'll make yours temporary because, you know, you're in that lower bracket. And they make the top percent. They make the people up here make theirs permanent. But you ain't up here. You ain't in this class. And the way it's structured, the way the system is set up, you ain't never getting up here either. American dream is dead. It's done. It's gone. Okay? The game is rigged. Trump was right. Trump was right. He said it. It's rigged. The game is rigged. And this is what they do. It's rigged. So yeah, these people at the Capitol, these people in government, these people in Congress, they're playing games with with they playing games with all of these services, all of these things that are funded by the taxpayer. What I don't understand is why it's okay to subsidize million and billion dollar corporations, but it's not okay to help subsidize the people. Why is that such a bad thing? Why is it such a bad thing to help subsidize the American people? Because those same corporations that I just mentioned aren't paying these people enough money, which is why they have to ask the government. You know, even Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jewish space laser Marjorie, even Marjorie Taylor Greene said it was her party's fault.
This should not be happening. And I don't think, look, as a member of Congress, we already have a low enough job approval rating. This shutdown is just going to drive everybody's approval rating that much lower.
Yes. But so you're putting the blame on the leadership of your party.
Absolutely. We control the House. We control the Senate. We have the White House. I've been vocal saying, you can use the nuclear option in the Senate. This doesn't have to be a shutdown. But what we have to do is we have to work for the American people. And our country is so divided right now. We see it all the time in every single way. It's divided in what I would say very dangerous ways.
There you go. Straight from MAGA Marge herself. It's her party's fault. It's the Republicans' fault. Clear as day. Because when the Democrats were in control, when the Democrats had power, all the Republicans did was say, no. Nope, we're not trying to help you pass nothing. We're not trying to help you do nothing. We're going to stand in your way. We're going to stick our thumbs and shove them in your eyes. They wasn't trying to do nothing. And now the Democrats are actually standing up for a worthy cause of trying to prevent health insurance premiums from going up. And all of a sudden, it's the Dems' fault. It's Dems this, Dems that. They're not in power. They're not in the majority. You are. Learn how to govern. Grow up. Learn how to govern. Learn how to do your job. But they don't want to do that. And again, how I'm going to end this is those programs like Social Security, uninsurance, all those safety nets and protections, most Republicans aren't for that. Democrats really push those initiatives through. Now, granted, a few Republicans here and there might have voted for it, but the Republican Party as a whole does not identify with those safety nets. They don't. They just don't. There are Democrat programs, as you hear your president say.
Happening on the shutdown, though. Honestly, can I put it in plain words for you? And you're a smart guy, so you'll understand, but a lot of people don't. The Democrats are getting killed on the shutdown because we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we were opposed to. So we're being able, and they're never going to come back in many cases. So we're being able to do things that we were unable to do before. So we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we wanted to close up or that we never wanted to happen, and now we're closing them up. And we're not going to let them come back. The Democrats are getting killed. And we're going to have a list of them on Friday, closing up some of the most egregious, socialist, semi-communist, probably not full communist, we're saving that for New York, but semi-communist programs, and we're closing them up. We're not closing up Republican programs because we think they work. So the Democrats are getting killed, but they're not telling the people about that. I say it, I haven't said it probably as bluntly as I just said it, but so we are closing up Democrat programs that we think that we disagree with, and they're never going to open again. Thank you very much.
There you go. So to close this video out, Democrats, if you ever get back into power somehow, some way, we make it past all of this, do tit for tat. These so-called Republican programs, close them all. I don't know what the hell they are, but I know one thing they do support: those tax cuts for the rich. Close them. Get rid of them. Ain't no such thing as permanent. Take them away. It can be undone. Take them away. That's what you do. Because those so-called Democrat programs, They were to help the American people. The average everyday American person who gets up and goes to work and busts their behind doing a job they probably hate to support their family, to keep the country moving. That's the sacrifice. But what do people like him, what if they ever sacrifice? What are they expected to sacrifice? Us. If you made it to the end of the video, thank you very much. I appreciate it very much. If you like the content, make sure to give it a like, comment, subscribe. I would deeply appreciate it. And remember, at the end of the day, we're all just numbers in the system. We are. But let's show them that we could be more than that.